I'm an Australian living in Belarus, and I'm about to show you in depth the text message conversation that I had with a gold digger, and I'm going to show you every single red flag so that you can try and protect yourself. Now, before I start, what is this about? This is about girls who have no genuine romantic interest in a man. No genuine interest. She only wants dates, etc., to be paid for. She doesn't care who you are. She doesn't care what you like. She just wants your money. She does not care about anything else, right? All right, so how do I know that this girl was a gold digger? Well, here's her photo. Now, I'll tell you, behind the privacy that I've put there is a very attractive girl. She's 25. We're in Moscow. She would be in the top maybe 3% of girls in Moscow, right? So first up, red flag. This is online dating. I'm using Bumble, online dating app. And I know that in this market on Bumble, I don't match with a girl at this level. Yep. Now, maybe in broader society, in normal life, I can potentially obtain a girl at this standard. But online, I know I'm not matching with this girl, right? And the age gap between us is significant. And typically girls who are looking at men a lot older than them typically are thinking about money. Typically what girls want to do when they're this attractive is to narrow down the pool of guys, right? Narrow it right down. So although she might go with a 35-year-old, even a 45-year-old in real life and just be a normal girl, online she won't. She'll tend to restrict the ages there. So I'll get screened out just based on age. Next red flag. The flowers. Oh man, having the flowers there like that, as if she's just received them on a date. Yep. So this is some kind of manipulative kind of mind games. And again, the whole point of this is she doesn't care who you are. She's just showing what she wants. Photos and profiles should not be about necessarily what she wants, but what can she actually give you, right? This is what a profile should be. Now, she has this photo, a couple other photos, and then guess what? She wrote nothing in her profile, nothing other than her Instagram handle. The next red flag, right? Come on, give me a reason to be interested in you, right? Just say a few things. Yeah, but she doesn't do that. She just puts her Instagram handle, and if you go to her Instagram, it's a very well manicured Instagram, typical marketing girl kind of Instagram, right? All right, so let's move on to the actual conversation. Bumble, so she starts the conversation. Hey, very imaginative. I'm like, hi, are you studying this? Because this is one of her listed interests on the pre-filled out questionnaire. She says, I'm interested in this, but don't study it. Cool, I studied this. Now I work as this. What about you? So this is actually okay. She's told me something about her and asked me in return. Now, she said she's interested in this, but I'm like, well, what does that actually mean in practical terms? Because it's a very broad topic. I won't say what it is, but it's like saying, yeah, I like property. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does it actually mean? Like, I'm interested in this. What does it mean? What have you done? What are you doing? All right. A few more things, just asking questions and just some basic stuff, get to know you. And then she says, well, I read a lot, plus actively apply knowledge into my life. Now, this is something common in this part of the world for girls to do a lot of self-help. And it's something I think is very admirable. There's a lot of mental health problems going on, and I think it's good that girls do this, right? I like this. Now, she asked me a question back, although I noticed that she didn't dig in further. She just asked another surface level question. Why Minsk? All right. So I said to her, this is good, right? That you're applying knowledge to your life, but be specific. Like, give me something more meaty. And then she does laughing emoji, be kind. And that's fair enough. I was probably being a little bit pushy. That's not an unreasonable thing. So I laugh, ha, 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 ha. So I'm like, okay, be specific about books. Let me see what you're reading. Like, are you reading some stupid girly magazine? Are you reading journal articles? What are we talking about here, right? So she said to me, did I just join a job interview or something? And I'm like, oh, what a massive red flag. This is such a cheesy line, and a line that only a girl who's been using online dating for a long time would use, right? This is like a set line. This is like pickup artist from 2008. So she's very experienced online. What the hell is a beautiful young girl who's chatty and engaging on online dating for a long time for, right? There's obviously a problem. This kind of girl gets snapped up in friggin' seconds. Right? Let's be realistic. Anyway, a bit of blah, blah, blah. And then she's saying, now I'm reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Now, I haven't read this book, right? But I know it's just kind of like simple entry-level pop culture stuff. That's my impression of it anyway. So I'm like, yeah, okay. She's obviously not that engaged in this idea. And I was kind of right to suspect that she wasn't. Now, I responded to her and said, yes, in a sense, yes, this is an interview. But I don't ask questions to fill in time. I didn't put I there. I skipped that accidentally. I ask questions with purpose, and that's exactly what I was doing. I'm seeing, what am I dealing with here? Is this a girl I like? Can I be interested in her? Will I like to talk with her? So I'm screening her for characteristics that I want. Then she says, do you want some tips? Now, this is pretty unusual because you're just reading some simple pop culture book that sold 10 million copies or whatever. But it's like, okay, cool. If you have some solid understanding, shoot, is what I said. She said, believe me, I do. I'm like, oh, I don't believe you at this point. I don't believe you, but okay. Then she says, we have a limited number of fucks to give. So care less about what I read and ask me out. Oh, man, what a red flag. What hot girl in the world stops a guy from screening her and demands that they take her out? Yeah. Now, this is a classic you'll see on gold digger internet profiles. Classic line is, I don't want to waste time on small talk. I'd rather meet in person. Yeah, this is a classic gold digger line. Again, the girls that have no interest in you. No interest, right? And she's shown no interest in me. She's just a simple, polite question or two. She just doesn't care about who I am. She doesn't care. And I'm trying to find out who she is, right? So I'm like, okay, if she's pushing me to ask her out, something's going on here. This is really obvious. And I told her, I'm screening you. I value my time, which I do. I'm not going to meet up with a girl I don't know anything about, right? From like 3 screens of online conversation. That's not going to happen. But I see that she's ready to meet now. And I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. Let me just ask some more questions. So I switched over to Telegram and did some voice messages. So I can't show you what we spoke about. But basically, I said to her, are you free tomorrow? She said yes during the day. I said, cool. And then she's like, oh, where do you live? She's like, oh, this metro. I'm like, this is there. She's like, yeah. She said, oh, there's a really cool something there. This kind of weird, obscure, expensive hobby thing, fun thing to do. And it's like, okay, this is really obvious. You've asked me to ask you out. Now you want me to come to your area. Like I live in the center of Moscow. She lives in the outskirts. Probably an hour to get there. You want me to come to you to this kind of overpriced novelty hobby thing that's near you. You know nothing about me. I know nothing about you. This activity will give us no chance to even talk to each other, right? So all of this is just red flag, red flag, red flag. There's probably about 6 red flags in there. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying a girl flowers. There's nothing wrong with taking a girl on a date and doing something. But all of this tells you that she has no interest in me as a person and has no interest in getting to know me. Yep. I am just paying for the stuff she wants to do. This is really, really clear. Because girls of this quality, as I've known in the past, are very picky. They have to be picky, man. This girl would have so much sausage piled up in her life. You can't even imagine. These girls can barely leave the house. Literally, right? She's trying to look out her front window of her house, right? All she's got is this big pile of sausages piled up, DMing her on every platform, hitting on her constantly. Like, it's hard to go on a date with this quality girl if she's genuinely interested in you, right? And she wants to know about you. She wants to know that if she goes on a date this week, out of this endless pile of dick piled up, that you're a good shot at being what she wants, right? She's done the opposite here. She's cut me off from screening her and requesting this very specific task or very specific activity near her place. Yeah. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with buying her some flowers, nothing wrong with doing activity on a date, although I stress first dates should usually be sitting down talking, coffee or a walk in the park, just get to know each other, talk to the girl, pay attention to her, listen, learn about her, explain yourself. This is the best thing to do, not just have a whole lot of fun on a fun date, right? That's not the right thing to do. You want to talk, right? You want to put the acid on both of you. Short, sharp, maybe 1 hour date. You can extend it if you're getting along well, but you typically want to have a short, sharp date and really screen each other. Ideally, you'd want to have a phone call. Like, I think that I wouldn't often meet a girl that I don't really know unless I've had a phone call with her, so we can talk and engage and I can get a sense of anything that's obviously deficient or maybe anything that's obviously not deficient. But nonetheless, here she is with infinite options, wanting to meet me, who she doesn't know at all, to do this favorite activity of hers near her house. So you can see this again. The key point here, she has no interest in me at all. Now, what I've done is I've put together a whole lot of examples like this, and I've written a book called How to Screen a Wife. And it's essentially red flags like this with practical examples. If you go to my website, marriedandmints.com, you'll find the copies available there so that you can screen girls quickly.